Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to this new series, the Manifest Your Abundant Life series. This is a remake of something I did 5 years ago. I recently got a comment on one of the videos from the original series asking me to remake this for 2024. And that felt right whenever I read it. And I remember doing this series. I remember what I did, but I didn't remember like the details. So I went back and watched the first video. I think it was the first video from that series to refresh my memory. No lie. In that video, I say, if you're watching this now or 5 years from now, this will pertain to you. I'd not watched that video in 5 years. You know, like that was just extra divine confirmation. So it's a remake, so it's going to be a little different, but I'm excited about this. It's going to be a series of 8 videos. 8's the number of abundance. It's also an 8 year. 2024 is an 8 universal year. So we're going to do 8 daily videos. I think I'm going to put them out at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I would like them to be around 10 minutes each. This one might be a little longer because I'm explaining it, but that's kind of my goal, around 10 minutes, very kind of bite size. So in the original series, what I did was I pulled a card from the Angels of Abundance deck, and I would read the card and then we do an energy activation. I'm not pulling cards this time, but I will be reading an excerpt from this book compilation that I have that I'll talk about in a second. And so we'll be reading just a short excerpt from that. And then we will be doing an energy activation for whatever that message is each day. Now, this series, my intention is that this series changes your life. I intend that you receive whatever you most need and desire from it, and that you go through a shift in your own consciousness so that you may experience abundance in any and all forms that you would like to experience abundance. Unlimited. Not limited by our limiting beliefs, really expanding past those and allowing that to be reflected back in our reality. Okay, so what I'm going to do instead of pulling a card is don't judge me when I show you this, okay? This book has been very loved. I have this Neville book that I've talked about before, and I actually will use this like an oracle deck a lot of times, where I'll close my eyes and I'll just open up to a page and see what that page tells me. And so that's what we're going to do for this series. I think that I'm going to tune in and pull, go to the page before, just for the sake of time to keep these brief. But what I'm going to do is just like I would an oracle card, close my eyes, ask what collective message wants to come through, and then open up to whatever page I'm guided and read the section that I'm guided to read from that. So Neville Goddard he teaches the law of assumption, and after really trying to understand how to manifest, really knowing that I could, always believing in it, but kind of fumbling around with like how to actually do it. When I found the law of assumption, this is a lot of people's story. I'm sure, I know I'm not alone. I'm sure that others who are watching this can relate. When I found the law of assumption, it actually worked. And so the way that I manifest is through the law of assumption. Neville's been one of my main teachers, but I've built off of that. And so this book, or this compilation book, really provides pretty much anything that you would need to utilize the law of assumption. So we're going to be reading from that, building off that, and like I said, doing a guided energy activation to ground it in your consciousness. And I would invite you to carry what we do throughout each day. And if any activation really resonates or really feels right for your soul, then that is your higher self giving you the go sign, right? That's your higher self saying, this is for you. This is what you need right now. So just really pay attention to how everything I read, how it sits with you, how it resonates, how the activations resonate. I invite you to go through the whole series, but then if something stands out, to keep that as your baseline. So whenever I was first, and we'll get into it in just a second, whenever I was first learning the law and embodying the law, there was a lot of shifting within my own consciousness, and it took discipline, and it took repetition, and really feeding my mind with the same information, because I was reconditioning myself of how my reality was then working, rather than what we were taught, because we weren't taught this. Most of us weren't, at least. Okay. So let's get started. If I remember, I will write the book or the passage, and then the chapter, that whatever I read, where that comes from. And I'll also link to this book below if anybody is interested. This book has been very loved. That's Candle. A candle exploded on it. It is like, the pages. I mean, this is almost embarrassing to show you, but I love it so much because I've had it for around 5 years, that I don't want to get a new version of it. Like, this book is special to me. Not all the pages are here. Some of the pages have even fallen out. I still have them, but yeah. So don't judge me for the condition of the book. It's just very, very well loved. Okay, so I apologize for the flickering of this camera. I'm gonna get that figured out. It was doing that in the Energy Advent series. I'm sorry. I typically just do audio, so whenever I had to do a camera thing, I'm not like necessarily set up 100% for it. So I do apologize for the camera flickering. Okay, so let's get started. I invite you to relax. Take a couple of deep breaths. And set your intention for yourself, for this series, for this chapter of your life. What does your abundant life look like? As you are bringing this into your mind's eye, I will be connecting energetically, and we will begin the energy activation before I read the passage from the book. If you would like to receive an energy activation for your highest and best good, just say yes. And now, once again, bring those intentions to your mind without limitation, saying yes to everything that your heart desires. What are your intentions for yourself right now? Sending the energy of protection to you and your space. And for this, we are asking and calling upon the energy, the guidance, the essence of Neville Goddard and his teacher Abdullah to be present for myself as I channel this, and for all who are present and watching this at any time, as well as any other guides who can assist with your specific intentions. And with the intention of this series, we're asking that they please be present for every activation during this series to assist all in mastering conscious creation and living their most abundant life, now and always, starting now and continuing and only getting more and more abundant. And so the passage from the book that I was drawn to said, "You did not choose me, I have chosen you. My concept of myself molds a world in harmony with itself and draws men to tell me constantly by their behavior who I am. The most important thing in this world to you is your concept of self. When you dislike your environment, the circumstances of life, and the behavior of men, ask yourself, who am I? It is your answer to this question that is the cause of your dislikes. If you do not condemn self, there will be no man in your world to condemn you. If you are living in the consciousness of your ideal, you will see nothing to condemn. To the pure, all things are pure." The law of assumption, for those who are not familiar with it, is walking forth in the assumption of your ideal. It is assuming that what you intend is manifested. It is assuming yourself to be who you choose to be. You can set intentions, you can visualize, affirm, but it's walking forth in the assumption that allows what you are intending to harden into fact. And so we begin today with the concept of yourself. Up until this point, who have you believed yourself to be? I know that's a heavy question and a lot of answers can come up. And so we bring about a little contrast to bring some more clarity in. Who is the ideal version? If you were your ideal right now, because you are, it's just shifting your perspective to see it. Who is the ideal version of you? How do you think? How do you live? How do you act? How do you feel? How do you speak? What do you experience? And now, what are the old stories or beliefs about who you are that are not of your ideal? Where is that contrast? Maybe your ideal shines unapologetically, but you tell yourself to hide yourself, or it's a habit to hide yourself. Maybe your ideal self is really effing rich, but you believe yourself to be in lack always. Where's the contrast for you? Separate yourself from those old beliefs of who you were. See them actually in your mind's eye, pulling out of your consciousness, separating from your consciousness all those old beliefs, letting them go. Calling in the white flame of purification to just burn them all up. Clear out all of those old beliefs that are not in alignment with your ideal self-concept now. And now bring that ideal version into your mind's eye and merge with your ideal. Awaken your ideal. Feel yourself as your ideal right now, because you are. It just needed to be awakened in your consciousness. Now, as your ideal, how do you think about yourself? As your ideal now, how are you living? How do you interact with the world around you? And repeat the affirmation, I am my ideal now. I am my ideal now. Activating this within your mental body, emotional body, physical and energetic bodies. And grounding this in to you. As I'm grounding this in, I invite you to think of a way of how you will carry this with you throughout the rest of your days from this session. Maybe you just bring yourself back to the affirmation, I am my ideal now. Maybe you get a little more specific with something that you are really consciously shifting. So you might say, I love myself. I am lovable. I am abundant. I am rich now. I am successful now. The thing with the self-concept is, at first, a lot of it feels like a lie because we've been living in the old belief system. But all you're doing is you're choosing a more ideal and aligned belief. So moving forth from this session, how will you take this with you until it becomes natural? An affirmation, a visual, a state, an intention, a feeling. Choose what feels most natural and simple to you. And for the rest of today, continue to bring yourself back into that ideal self-concept. So we're just clearing out your energy field as this session is coming to a close. Sealing in this energy, disconnecting, so be it, so it is. We give thanks. Thank you for participating in this. You know, although what I really want to do with this series is I want it to be practical. I want you to leave these meditations and these activations and carry this with you so that it's not just experienced when you're in this elevated state or relaxed state, but it then becomes part of your waking, living life. So I love playing in the higher realms, right? I love working with the angels and all that fun stuff. But for this series, I really want to invite you to ground it in. I want it to be a practical application so that you can take it from the higher realms and actually live it. Live it here on earth. Live your ideal here on earth. Okay, so we will end this here. And I will talk with you tomorrow. I will leave a couple extensive healings that I think align with this series. I'll leave those below. And so much love and light. Bye.